even though the accounts are still split, he know how much you make and you know how much he make.
Yeah.
And you know who paid the bills over here, and she know who paid the bills over there. Everybody doesn't know that. And so, you know, it's a power issue. And that can cause conflict in a marriage. Here's a third conclusion that was drawn from statistics. Employed women are more likely to influence major decisions and finance matters when they have jobs. Women who don't have jobs seem to not have as much influence. They'll say, honey, I'd like to do this, and he said, well, I don't know, that'd be all right. But if she have a job, she say, honey, we gonna do this here. She didn't say, honey, I'd like to. because she is employed. You see, the power dynamic shifts. Because she's bringing in money. And so there is a power dynamic that shifts there. Did y'all catch that? Number 4, parents use money, watch this, to control the children. Y'all might want to come. I am not buying you this. Don't you touch that? Don't you? You like them shoes? Take a picture of them. You stop and get something to eat. Don't you get that more than $10?
Don't need no cheese on that hamburger.
That meal cost $15, and all these meals on that menu, that's $11.99, and you want that $15 meal. Parents control. It's an issue of power. And it's not that they don't have the $15.99. Right. It's just that I'm in charge. I'm in charge. It's an issue of power. But nobody, that never comes out the mouth. That never comes out, hey, I'm in charge here. You don't say that. It comes out in the actions. It comes out in the attitude. Money is power. Disputes are not always over dollars. It's over power. Look at that last sentence at the bottom of the page. Because money is power, marital disputes over money may in fact not be over dollars and cents, but it's over power. Many times a couple will fight over how money should be spent. Not so much because either one really cares that much for the thing they're arguing for, but to see who what controls the spending. Do y'all catch that? I think we ought to get another car for the house. No, baby, I was looking at that furniture set over there. We had this furniture for 7 years. We had this furniture for 7 years. But now it's not about the car. It's not about the furniture. Now it's about who's control. But we're talking about furniture and cars. We're talking about stuff and items and things. But that's not what it's about. It's about power. Y'all said that. When the financial situation changes, watch this. The balance of power will tip, causing tension. Do y'all catch that? For example, both of them got a job, but let one of them get a raise.
Yay! Mobile.
That's what we say. Oh yeah, he got a raise. She got a raise. He got a raise. Yep.
And they look at the increase too, though.
That's right.
Who's looking at the increase?
Whoever didn't get the raise.
And whoever didn't get it is looking at it. Whoever got it is looking at it. But they're not saying it out their mouth. They're not saying it out their mouth. But if you watch actions and attitudes inside the house, all you got to do is watch actions and attitudes inside the house. Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes one, whoever it is that get the raise, they won't tell the other one that they got that raise.
Oh, Lord.
But another thing, too, a lot of times, even before you get the raise, you're trying to figure out how to spend it.
Oh, Lord.
You already spent it.
I'm warm in here. Brothers, y'all, we're not trying to say are both of these on? Do you know, Mike? It may be because I'm moving. I don't know. I'm warmer than no. But I see some fanning going on. Do you know where it's set? That's it. Ooh, that's hot. What is it set on? Oh, yeah, you gotta bring that down. Yeah. Okay, so where was I? Yeah. So somebody got a raise in the house, right? Now let's say he got the raise. The raise is in his check. Now, what is he gonna do?
Let me know he got the raise, and I'm gonna.
And how is he gonna act? Because he got a raise.
No, he don't. He's gonna get beat up. I see a beating.
Yeah. You know.
Don't want to tell it. She's gonna get some new shoes.
You know, okay, all right. He didn't get the raise, she got it.
I ain't gonna know
Tell him
about
about it.
Huh?
it. We ain't gonna know about it.
Everybody ought to be happy, right?
That's right.
That's what should be.
Closer to that freedom.
Yeah, you're supposed to celebrate.
Yeah. And okay, all right, watch this. Who initiates the celebration? The one who didn't get it?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm celebrating too.
We're going out to eat.
It's on you.
She got the raise.
You got the raise. We're going out to eat. You paying tonight, honey.
Papa Do's got We're gonna drive a little bit.
So he got to go to Papa Do's. We're not going to Applebee's.
No, ride down the road there for a minute.
Papa Do's.
You got a raise, baby.
Who's survey on this?
I ain't gonna say it, Bishop. I'm just gonna say that ride down.
Sound like a soap opera.
When people are getting divorces, these are the things that are coming up. These are the things that are coming up. That there's a balance of power and there's a tip in the tension in the house. And the thing about it is, nobody says it out loud. It happens in their actions and in their attitudes. It happens. She would have never asked that, suggested that, or anything like that in the past. But when she got that raise, she got a lot of suggestions. I know you had never noticed it, but he never mentioned this and that and this and that until he got that raise. And once he got that raise, that's all he talked about. It's the balance of power. Okay? Ideally, in a Christian family, money should not be a source of power, but it should be a shared resource.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the focus that we as Christians should have.
Amen.
So that's money as power. Well, what's the second one?
Money is
love. Oh.
Love for money.
Now, how do you show money as love? With stuff.
Stuff.
You ain't buy me no present. Presents is a token of love. Is a symbol, a sign of love. When you get my baby something, or when you watch this, don't get my baby something. All right? Presents show that you care. What is presents? Money. All right? Withholding presents may be seen as what? Withholding love. Now, y'all ain't got to raise your hand and nothing like that. Some people just love buying presents. They'll buy presents. They'll buy presents for Columbus Day. I was buying my present. And then some of the other person don't buy a present for nothing. They just don't. But I love you all my heart. That's just not me. I just don't, you know. That's just not me. Huh? The lights on, that's a present.
Bills paid.
Insurance paid.
No, see, I know, no, but I'm telling you, that's how many feel. Yeah. See, you got to hear me. That's how many feel. It's my birthday. Well, honey, there's a roof over our head. We got roof, we got, you know, the lights on, the water supply. You know I love you. I got you in this warm house. You know, the fireplace is burning. You know, I love you. No, but she wants a
Present.
It's a sign of love. Are y'all listening?
Yes, big present.
That's a hand right there. Hand right there.
A big present. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Grateful for everything However, just asking women, do we think if we get like a blender or a microwave, that's the same as a gift for us? Or, is that for us?
See, now you're talking about the type of gift. You know, if I buy Kim a vacuum cleaner for Mother's Day,
What you trying to say? What you trying to say? Oh, you gonna show me how you gonna use it?
I don't think that, you know.
First lady, he gonna vacuum, that's all it is. He's showing you what he gonna do.
I don't think that.
Then it gonna go well.
So the point. Get my nails done, go to the spa, but you want to do it. Those are symbols of love, and that's money, isn't it? Presents and gifts are symbols of money. They indicate money. Now, I want you to get this. Withholding of something is almost like withholding love. Are y'all catching that? Now, do this for me. Turn real quick to Luke 7:41. Okay. All right, that's where I want to be. Now, how do I get to the Bible? There you are. There you are. Luke 7. I'm learning, Brother Corey. I'm learning. Luke 7 and 21. Okay. Am I right? I'm sorry, 41. 41, ladies and gentlemen. 41. Yeah. Now, there was a certain creditor had two debtors. Now, listen to what Jesus said, because Jesus recognized this too. He said, one owed 500 denarii, and the other owed 50. In other words, one owed 2 weeks or 2 months worth of money, and the other one owed about 2 days worth. 50, about maybe 2 months. One owed about 2 years worth, the other owed about 2 months worth. Okay? Now think about this. One owed 2 years worth of money, and the other owed 2 months worth of money. And verse 42, and both of them didn't have anything to repay. Both of them. And he freely forgave them both. Both of them. And Jesus asked, tell me, which one of them will love him more? You know, the one that owed 2 years worth, or the one who owed, And Simon answered and said, I suppose it's the one who he forgave more. And Jesus said, bingo. Jesus said, you got it right. The one who owed more is going to probably in more likelihood show more love, because he was in more debt. It didn't matter to the creditor. All right. The creditor, it didn't matter. Are y'all following that? the creditor, it didn't matter. He forgave them both. But which one of them who would say, "Oh my God, my love and devotion toward this is going to be so much stronger"? It's the one who owed more. Jesus said, "Man, you judge that thing just right." Is that in your Bible?
Yeah, Bishop, is this a living paraphrase?
Okay, living paraphrase. Read it.
Living paraphrase, it says, then Jesus told him this story. A man loaned money to two people, 5,000 to one and 500 to the other.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I want you to get to verse 42.
Okay, 42 now. But neither of them could pay him back, so he kindly forgave them both, letting them keep the money. Which do you suppose loved him most after all?
Verse 43, read.
I suppose the one who had owed him the most. Simon answered. Correct.
Correct.
Jesus agreed.
Jesus said correct. He said, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Read.
Okay, 44.
No, that's okay. That's it. 43. I want you to get. Jesus said, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
The one who owed the most.
That's right.
If I say him, and I say, here, man, here's $1,000, man. Yeah, just take that. I look over there and say, here, man, here's 10,000. That brother there, he said, you say, man, I appreciate you, Bishop. You know, I really appreciate you. You never say, man, brother, I got you.
I got you.
You know, we the man who owed the most, who received the most.
That's right.
And so Jesus recognized that. Well, how come we can't recognize it? We should be able to give and show, because that shows the love. Right. And you won't say, baby, you know I love you. Okay, show me. show me something. I mean, you know, I know you love me, but you understand. Show me something. You see what I always do with Kim? I say,
that's all right. That's the way to do it.
I say,
it's always the right side.
She get what she wants. She know what she wants. She can learn. Yeah. Because if I go, I used to take the girls with me. Right. I said, y'all help me find. And we go, we find something. And she always goes, smile like and I'm looking and I'm saying, you know,
take it back.
I'm still, but when she go get it, she get exactly what she wants.
That's right.
So I don't even buy my own shirt. I know I ain't got to be trying to find something for her.
Bingo.
Okay, money is power, money is love. All right, how about this? Money is status. Oh, Lord. And now remember we talked about status when we first started, right? But let me ask you about this. Status was defined early on, but it's in the social system where you have two things. Status gives you rights and duties. Hello. So let me ask you, what is a right? What is a right?
Something you have.
A right. I'm entitled, right? How about a prerogative? It's my
My decision. My choice.
Yeah, man, it's my privilege. Or my right. It's privilege. How about an advantage? It's my right. My status gives me advantage. It gives me prerogative. It gives me all of that entitlement, rights. Okay, so what is a duty? Responsibility, obligation. It's my assignment. It's my function, my mission, my job. So if I'm in the marriage and I got the money and I got both the right and the duty, the money gave me the status. So I've got the entitlement and I got the obligation. So I'm entitled to make the decision and I'm obligated to do it. So why are you fighting with me when you know this is my assignment in the relationship? You know it's my. This is what money. This is how money interferes with a marriage. This is because money gonna give somebody in that relationship some perceived status. And they feel like, hey, I have the right and the duty to make this call. So what you doing fighting me? I brought home not just the bacon, I brought the pig. So what you doing? So what you doing bucking? I'm entitled. Y'all catch that?
Yes.
Based on my right, the status, my status gives me the entitlement to take care of this family. And here you are, fighting, resisting. And you know, watch this. This is my mission. Based on my status. Are y'all catching this? This is the kind of thing counselors have to deal with when those two people show up in their office.
All right.
Because somebody feel like they have status. What is my status in the relationship? Don't think the woman won't do it. The woman will tell you, hey, I got status too.
That's right.
Your status don't abrogate mine. Your status. Listen. Some status are seen as higher versus lower in rank.
Yeah.
That's known as rank stratification. That's known as stratification. And if you think that in some marriages there's not stratification between the husband and the wife, Lord have mercy. There is rank stratification in that relationship. And it's based upon money, 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 money. Now there is something, if you follow me on 156, called a SES, SES, socioeconomic status. Y'all see that?
Yes.
Now the cess is based upon three things. It's based upon the income of the person in the marriage, the education of the person in the marriage, and the occupation of the person in the marriage. However, the chief one is the income.
All right.
But all three of them make up your cess. So what is your cess in your marriage? Don't answer that. What is your cess between you and the woman and the man God gave you? What is your cess? Because in that is going to be the stratification. And that's where the head bumping can come. That's where it can come. Okay? Now, watch this. We always want to communicate our status to other people. No. Are y'all watching me? Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Y'all walk in here Sunday, communicating your status. How you dress.
That's easy.
Communicate your status. When I look out in the parking lot and see that
Don't be fooled by what
thing
you
you
see
rolled
out
up
there.
in,
That means nothing.
you can say it all you want
It
to.
don't.
When I look out there, it communicates the status that you want portrayed. The house that you live in, the house that you got, is communicating. It's called a status symbol. I'm telling you, we don't go out and say, "Oh, I'm getting ready to buy me a status symbol." We don't say that. But it happens in our actions and attitudes. That's what I'm trying to get to you. And we get denial is not pretty.
At all.
It's the truth. It's what we do. We do it all the time. Membership in certain clubs. We're trying to communicate something. We're trying to communicate something. All of us in here who are in fraternities and sororities. I remember 46 years ago. That's a long time. Y'all wasn't born, were you?
No. I got about 4 more years.
I was here with him.
I wasn't too old.
When I decided to look at Omega, I had looked at all the other fraternities and that was available on Philander Smith College on the campus, because I was in what they call Upward Bound. Y'all ever heard of Upward Bound?
Yeah.
I was Upward Bound for 3 years.
Yep.
and we saw all of them. We saw all of them. And me and Joe Moore, y'all know Joe Moore, we go behind the building and we would be marking them cues. We couldn't let them see us, you know. But we go behind the building, we be marking. We go back there. We go. And so as soon as I enrolled in University of Arkansas, me and him both, we couldn't wait. We didn't even give anyone else another even chance. That's the sort of thing. Because we wanted to be kidded. That's all. That's it. That was it. You may, I don't know what stories y'all might have of what you decided to become a part of. Oh, okay. What about the church you join? Some folk join the church out of status.
That's a good one there.
They got this going on. They got a big old this. They got a oh yeah, they got 30 people in that choir, Jack. I heard one guy told me, I can't join no church without a big choir. I said, well, what about a big Jesus? You know? I mean, I didn't say that, but you know.
Thought crossed your
But all of this is status. It's status. It's all status. We're looking for something. We're trying to communicate something. And how we spend our money communicates our status. If a couple spend their income, how they do it, many disagreements over money is really disagreements over status. He wants to buy that car, she wants that furniture. They disagreeing. And it ain't even about the car, and it ain't even about the furniture. It's about status. It's about the stratification that has occurred between the two of them in their relationship. It has nothing to do with the stuff. But it manifests with the stuff. Yes, ma'am. Talk to me, y'all. Talk to me. Yes, ma'am.
In my other voice, Bishop, you're so right. I wasn't the breadwinner, but I made sure that my portfolio was more diversified.
You made sure your portfolio was diversified. I like that. I like that. But you know what? We don't want this to be true, do we? We don't want any of this to be true. That man stood up there talking that craziness.
Right on.
Sound like a soap opera.
Sound like a soap opera. Oh no, not me,
The bold and
Bishop.
the beautiful.
Not me.
I know.
Now let's look at the biblical view on page 157. Let's look at the biblical view. Because this is the view we want to say we have, isn't it? And when we have this view, we won't end up in these statistics here. You see, half of the parable, I'm going to read this because I want y'all to catch this. Half of the parables of Jesus recorded in the Gospels deal with money and possessions. Lord have mercy. In fact, Jesus said more about money than about heaven and hell combined. There are about 500 verses in the Bible dealing with prayer and about 500 verses on faith. There are over 2,000 in the Bible concerning money and possessions. Look at this. Consider the following, and we can't discuss them all. I wish we could. God is the provider of our needs. If we would have that, then we would be able to say what all of y'all want us to say in here, is that everybody is good and nobody is thinking about any of that stuff we just talked about. No, not me, Bishop. Not us. We's just perfect. Now, look at the second one. Being good stewards of what God provides is in the text. That we are supposed to be good stewards. Didn't say who brought it in, who got it, who earned it. We are supposed to steward it. Next, how to handle debt is in the Bible. Look at this, there's some scriptures there. Co-signing for loans. Look at that. It's in the text. The acquisition of money by work. If you don't know that you're supposed to get up in the morning and go to work, read the Bible. Oh, y'all ain't said that. Get up in the morning, go in the morning, you find yourself a job, ain't got nothing to do with selling weed. Y'all ain't said nothing. Look at the next one. Being ethical in your financial dealings. Saving money. Investing money. The scriptures on inheritances. And giving to God and, watch this, giving to others. The basic concern of the Bible, ladies and gentlemen, is about our attitude toward money. It's not money itself. It's always the attitude toward money. It's the love of money. And all the time, y'all know this because y'all was Bible people. You hear people talk about money being the root of all evil. And everybody know that it's really what?
The love of money.
The scriptures say it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. It never said money is the root of all evil. That's just people who don't go to Bible study. They're the ones who listening to the comedians on TV. Steve Harvey, my boy, but he needs to stay out the Bible. Hey, he my boy, but he needs to stay out the Bible. All right, let's go real quickly over the budgeting. Anybody scared the budget?
No.
What Renee at? The hand? You got the handouts there? Now, listen. I'm giving you a sample budget. No, that ain't no budget. What's that? What is Renee in the house? There it is, right there. Oh, okay. It got to be able to go faster than that. Yeah, if you can't pass them out one at a time. There you go. There you go. Yeah. And I hope we don't need more because I think I don't know how many she made. Yeah. Okay, now listen. This is not. Y'all don't say I don't like that one, Bishop. I didn't tell you to like this. What I gave you is a sample or an example, a template of something that you can consider. Because if I ask everybody to raise your hand if you operate from a budget, I'm not sure if I would get, the responses we Now, first of all, before you look at this, let's talk for just a second. I might have passed this out too fast. Let's talk for just a second, because I want to tell you what a budget is and what it is not. Most of the time, what reason people don't like budgets is because of what they think it is. You follow what I'm saying? When you hear the word budget, first thing you think of restriction. Something I can't do it. It's total control. Okay? But if a budget is a budget should not control you. It should free you to get the most out of your money. If it's controlling you, then you're using it the wrong way. Are you following me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about that in a minute. A budget is, as a master, that no couple can faithfully serve is a bad budget. But a budget as a servant, that's what every couple should want. A budget should not be a master, it should be your servant. Okay? If a couple allows the budget to control them, it will never work. But if it allows them to control their money, it'll work. Okay, now, I like this example, but I don't have time to deal with it too much. When he used the example, they have $80. A couple had $80 for groceries, and they had $16 for entertainment. And then they wanted to go to a concert, but the 2 tickets were what? $32. Okay, but they only had budgeted what? $16 for entertainment. Now, if the budget is the master, guess what? They ain't going. Y'all catch that? But if the budget is not the master but the servant, what they'll do is they'll take $16 from the grocery money. They'll go and enjoy themselves at the concert, and then they'll eat less in the groceries. You see? But if they let it master them, they won't do that. Does that make sense to you? Yes. Your budget is not supposed to be your master. It's supposed to serve you so you can handle your money. Okay? Okay. So, what exactly, top of 159, what exactly is a budget? It is a flexible, workable plan for spending money that channels a couple's cash flow into areas that provide the greatest benefit, watch this, to them. You follow that? Flexible and workable. Okay? If you don't do that, it quickly becomes a master rather than a servant. All right. Now pick this up just real quick. We're not going to just pick it up. I don't have any numbers in there. This is just a sample, a template, a tool. You can look at the total amount that the two of you all bring in. And when you do that, you add that total up. Don't make it so that, well, you only brought in 30%. You know, I brought in 70. So, you know, I got the power. You know, what happens is you stratify your relationship. Okay? And so you look at the total of what you have, and then you start looking at what you got to do. And there are what we call them. You got fixed expenses. You got some expenses that what do we call non-discretionary, and you got discretionary expenses. Your non-discretionary expenses. That's your mortgage. That's, you know, you don't have any discretion on that, do you? No. Do they let you hold back? If you do, let me know who your mortgage company is. We need to wrap. There are some non-discretionary spending and then you have some discretionary spending that can go in your budget. Okay, and I put in here different sections. You know, your loans, debt. You got utilities. And you know, one might need to add something on here or take something out. It's up to you. And you may not even like this model, you know. On the back side, what about your savings and investments? That's a part that many people don't do so well on savings and investment. And you folks do need to do that. And then you got the other charges that are miscellaneous. At the top of that, I did this for y'all. I put tithes and offers and pledges at the top of that one. To me, tithes and offers and pledges should have went at the top of the page. But there are a lot of people who don't understand that. They don't get that. To understand that you do your stewardship responsibilities, and then that which remains is your 100%. That which remains 100% of what you have to work with after you've done your stewardship responsibilities. Solid Christian understanding is that level of maturity is required, and we just continue to teach and teach and teach to people grasp that, and then once people start walking in that, grasp that and walk in it, then that's when they find the world opening up to them. But they don't ever find that because they never trusted enough. They never have faith enough to trust it. But so I put it there, but I did put it at the top. So you'd understand that those stewardship responsibilities should be paramount. And then you have all those other things that you got to do. And this is just a sample of how one can approach this. You can approach it in a number of other ways. But the key is to have an approach. Okay? Were you asking? Okay. All right. Now, look over at page 160. I just want you to see that chart there. And on that chart, it says circle a letter that describes how you feel about the following. L is a luxury, D is desirable, U is useful, and N is necessary. And that's really what that's saying. How bad do I need this? How bad do I want it? And you start looking at that, and it starts telling you where you are. And especially as it applies to you and your money. You know, if you only make $75, you know, I'm being, you know, y'all with me. If you only make $75, you can't be having a whole bunch of these other discretionary luxury things. But you see, you have to think about that. All right. Let's see. Another question people ask is, what percent of what should be used in the budget? And really the answer is individual. However, what you see on the bottom of 161 is suggested percentages. Like your home and shelter. Anywhere between 20 to 35% of your budget, it should be, you know, your home and shelter. You know, your house and taking care of that house and that electric and water and all that should be there. 15 to 25% should be. Now wait a minute. I want you to notice at the top of this. Look back at the top of the chart where it says percent of income. What does it say underneath that in
After taxes and stewardship.
And stewardship? So you've already done your tithes and your stewardship responsibilities.
Yes.
Then you're looking at these numbers. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, you do your stewardship responsibilities. Then you look at these percentages. You see? Okay, question. All right, go on over. I'm running because I want to get to something else which I don't know if I'm going to get to. Now you look over at type of credit. We have all kind of credit, don't we? But there really is 3 types of credit. You have open credit, you have profit-making credit, and you have non-profit-making credit. Now, open credit is credit you get and there's no finance charge on it.
At the co-op.
Your electric bill. They give you electric before you pay for it, don't they? And you don't pay any finance charge. They gave you your water before you pay for it, and there's no finance charge. You pay for the water. That's called open credit. Open credit is anything you get and receive prior to with no finance.